In the next 2 minutes, I want to give you a concrete example of how our memory works and how you can use this in your own teaching. And like I said in one of my last videos, the really kind of interesting thing here is we already know this. So I'm going to give you a real life example that you will all probably be able to relate to. You don't need to read in thousands and thousands of kind of words or pages in research reports to understand this. This is really common sense. We just need to kind of bring it back to the forefront of our mind of how learning works. So think about, if you're the same kind of roughly age as me, think about, can you remember your first landline phone number at home? Okay, lots of you probably now are thinking, yeah, I can, yeah, and you can probably say it out loud right now. So why is that? Now, it's probably one of two reasons. If you're like me, your mum and dad probably brought you up to actually answer the telephone with your number. So you would say 01325 350 and you would say that number. So there's that kind of retrieval all the time. Every time you answered the phone, you had a little retrieval activity because you had to think about the number and you had to say it. Or secondly, if you were going to ring home, we didn't have mobile phones at that time, you had to physically punch the number in, so you had to actually remember the number to actually put it into dial it. So it was a constant retrieval. We didn't have to restudy, we didn't have to revise the number, it was all about retrieval. So what that tells us is that actually retrieval and low stakes testing is far better than restudying. Because we know that also the spacing element of this, that actually what happens is every time you get that number right or you've retrieved it, you can wait a little bit longer to retrieve it again. So the phone might ring in a couple of days or 3 days or 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And every time we extend that spacing, when we get it right, then actually it strengthens the memory even further of that number. So what happens now is that you can still remember that number 20 or 30 years later because it's become completely concrete in our mind. If you're a little bit younger and you're thinking, well, I didn't have a landline number, or what is a landline number? Think about song lyrics when they come on the radio and you haven't heard them for years and years and years, but you can still remember them because it's all about the retrieval and that little low stakes testing and quizzing that you've been doing all the time, listening to the radio at discos or nightclubs, etc., etc. So the moral here is more testing, more low stakes quizzing, and more opportunities for retrieval in the classroom rather than restudying and reteaching, because actually we know how memory works. If it's been useful, share it, get involved in the conversation in the staff room or below. Hope that's been useful.